A lot of people have an idea of what Native art should look like, and I think a lot of artists are kind of fighting back against that and like combining traditional techniques and methods with contemporary ways of storytelling. Native artists work from the heart. They're sharing about their own experiences, whether it's historical or a contemporary experience. I feel like there's a lot of layers and meaning and more connection. So my family's from Minnesota. I'm Fond du Lac Ojibwe. I grew up in the cities, but my dad grew up north. My native side comes from his side of the family, but I didn't necessarily grow up within the culture. With divorced parents, my mom always tried to keep me in programming through like the Minneapolis American Indian Center. My dad had gone to an assimilation school, so I didn't really grow up knowing a lot, but since coming back from college, I've really made it a priority to be involved in the community and learn more and all of that. I think I first learned how to knit in 4th grade. There was a project where we had to learn how to knit a flute case, and then every year thereforward we had like a fiber arts project. And then went to the Rhode Island School of Design, originally for architecture, but transferred into the textiles department because I missed using my hands.
So right now I'm weaving with a monofilament work, and then I'm about to fill breathing tubes with some red beads. That'll be then used as the weft to weave the piece.
A lot of my work is based on identity and how I relate to my culture, my experiences being Native. My artistic style is explorative and playful. It's very blunt, but I try to make it easily digestible or like relatable to people through the materials that I use, the way I put them together. When a viewer comes to look at my work, I hope that they feel something first, whether they know about it or not. And then once they read into it, I think blunt in terms of like talking about things that are harder to talk about or people don't share as much, or just calling something out for what it is. So being very forward about those experiences and not hiding or feeling shame. And then hopefully people feel more connected or less alone. The advice I would give to my younger self or another younger person, don't be afraid to start, even if it's small. Don't be afraid to rest. I think when you're resting, your brain is always actively working anyways, and sometimes that's when the most creativity comes. And I would say don't feel pressure to always create or always to exhibit, and to know that it's okay to create work for yourself, and to also be forgiving and flexible if your timeline changes. Your sanity comes first, and you can create work on your own timeline. As the inaugural Indigenous artist here at Henry Ford, I hoped that by being here that I can bring a different perspective to weaving in terms of the materials or the stories that I'm telling. The project that I'm currently working on is something that I've been wanting to do for the last 2 years. So finally being able to kind of bring that to life and just have the space and resources, it's a rarity, so it just feels very special to be here.